What is up, YouTube? Today is July 18th of 2023. I'm here in Maryland. Last video I was fishing around New Jersey looking for redfin pickerel, and I succeeded in doing that. Today we are going to be fishing a spot I actually fished at the end of last year, so I'll link that video above in the cards. But we are back here because apparently I missed some species that are around the area, and we're going to hope to run into those species today. One is a species of killifish that is supposedly not super common in the areas of like Maryland, New Jersey. It's going to be the spot fin killifish. I have a couple other species of killifish already on my life list that are native to the area that are more easily found. The striped killifish, the mummy chog, the banded killifish, which is a freshwater species. I have all those on my life list already, but the spot fin killifish is supposedly around the area somewhere around here, and we're going to hope to find that today, as well as a few other targets which I'm going to go to a backup spot for, that being the naked goby, striped blenny, and the northern pipefish, which could be found around here but more towards the inner bay area. So I'm going to fish around here. We're going to be doing some micro fishing to start off, and if I can find some mummy chogs that are of decent size, I might save some to use as cut bait when we switch spots. See if I can get something bigger on the board, maybe a little stingray or drum, catfish, something of the sort. So stick with it and stay tuned. Hopefully you guys enjoy the video, and hopefully I can come up with a few new species, but the ones I'm after are going to be a little bit tougher to find than the ones we were after last time we were here. Right now I got on a little Tanago hook with a very tiny piece of worm that you can see there, a couple of split shots above it to keep my bait in place, and then I got that tied onto a little barrel swivel. We got my normal lightweight setup. It's going to be a 6-foot ugly stick elite. It's a medium light rod, and this is what we're going to be using to start off with. I got my other rod in the car, which we'll bring out later on once we go for the bigger stuff. So enough talking, let's get to fishing here. I just had a little sheep's head minnow tap the bait. Let's see if we can get them on the hook. These guys can be a little finicky sometimes. Oh, almost had them. Come on, get it. Come on, I know you're in there. I'm gonna walk over to the sunny side, see if I can see things a little bit clearer. All right guys, we got our first fish of the day here, and this is actually going to be, I believe that's an eastern mosquito fish, not a rainwater killifish, but I could be wrong, so let me take some shots of this guy and then let's let him go. All right guys, second species of the day. That is actually going to be the rainwater killifish. Species of killifish, but not the one we were after. Let's go ahead and take a little shot and release this guy. Here we go guys, got our first sheep's head minnow of the day. Pretty cool species of fish. This one's got the markings on it. Let's go ahead and take a shot and release this guy. Our first sheep's head minnow of the day. Let's go ahead and release him on the Tanago hook. Fell for a little bit of worm. Pretty little guy. We're just going to drop him right back in. Get our piece of worm back on the hook. There are some sunfish around. I haven't seen my target species yet, but doesn't mean they're not around. Another rainwater killifish here. Not what we're after once again. Let's go ahead and release this guy. Come on, buddy. There you go. Back in the water he goes. All right, guys, so the one salt pond that I was trying to fish to get one of my target species, the spot fin killifish, was completely inaccessible with all the vegetation, which makes sense why the sample that was recorded was caught in like March or early May, before all the vegetation blew up. So right now I'm walking to the bay side and see if I can find one of those little tidal creeks that might also have our target species. So stay tuned and I will be there shortly. Alright guys, just got this little guy here. Now this is either a mummy chog or our target species. I'm not completely sure yet. We gotta get a picture of the dorsal fin because that's what's going to lead us to our identification. Alright, this guy looks more different than the last one. This one looks more like a striped killifish almost, but this isn't the type of habitat striped killifish would like, as far as I'm aware. Interesting sample. I'm going to take some more pictures of this guy and release him. Alright guys, just got our first real size mummy chog. I'm not sure if those ones we caught earlier were mummy chogs or not. This one does not have a spot on the dorsal fin, so I'm going to say this is definitely just a little mummy chog, but we're going to take shots just to be sure and then release this guy. Alright, we got ourselves a king size mummy chog right there. That'll be good bait. We go ahead and get this guy off the hook. Not sure if my target species has shown up yet. It very well could have, and it was just too small for me to identify properly on my own. So we'll see. We'll refer to the experts and I'll put the correct identification of the species at the bottom in the subtitles. I may have gotten my target species, I'm not 100% positive. There's a group of fish in with the mummy chogs that were hanging closer to the surface and not really down in the depths or more towards the bottom like the mummy chog were, and they looked slightly different, had more vertical lines compared to the speckles that the mummy chog have. So I may have caught my target species. I'm not 100% positive because it could very well be something else or just a juvenile mummy chog, but I may have gotten one of them. I might try and go out to the main bay and try and get some striped killifish real quick just to get a larger sample of those for the day. There's another little mummy chog here, I believe. Let's take shots of this guy just to be sure though, because this guy does have more vertical barring. And then probably gonna switch to an even smaller hook to try and get more of those samples of what I thought could be my target species, and then we're gonna get out of here and switch spots. Alright guys, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe this is one of my target species, I was gonna say. That looks to be a spot fin killifish. I'm not gonna confirm anything yet because it could end up being something else. But I downsized my hook. What I was using earlier was the Tanago hooks, the normal ones. That was the Tanago Ultimate hook that I caught that on. So even smaller than the normal Tanago hooks. There's still a couple over there. I did get pictures of that guy before he just flopped out of my hand, as you saw. So hopefully we have enough to confirm a new species, but it's still pretty difficult. I'm gonna try and get another teeny piece of worm on there and maybe catch another sample, and then after that we're gonna try and head to another spot, which is going to be on the other side of the Chesapeake Bay. Right now I'm on the eastern side. We're gonna head to the western side to try and get the other species that we're after today. All right guys, we are back. Same day. It is still July 18th or whatever it is. I think it's the 18th. Yeah, definitely is the 18th. But we are here about an hour and a half north of where we just last were, and inland a good bit. We are now fishing a tributary of the Susquehanna River. Continuing with the theme of the day, we're still going to be doing a little bit of micro fishing, seeing what we can pull up out of here. There may be some new species around, but I think I caught most of them out of here already, the ones that I need. But we're gonna drop little pieces of worms around the rocks and stuff and see what can come up. Alright guys, our first fish out of the creek here is going to be, of course, the creek chub. Just a little guy. We'll go ahead and take a shot and release him. Another species for the day. Alright, another species for the day. We got here a tessellated darter. Just a little guy. Fell for that little piece of night crawler. Pretty cool little fish. Alright, for some reason the camera cut out, but I did just get a little eastern black-nosed dace. I'll include the picture. It's gonna look like it gets pretty rocky down here. We'll see what we're cooking with, and then we might move upstream a little bit, see what we're cooking with up there. Alright, we got our second tessellated darter here. Pretty cool fish, but not what we're after. If the banded darter is in here, then that would be a new species, but that is a long stretch. Just a lot of these little tessellateds. Go ahead and pop the hook out of him. Alright, there he is. It's good to go back in the water. Alright guys, I think that is just going to do it for me. Fortunately, I did not find my target fish at this particular location. I may have found it at the spot we were at to begin the day, but I'm not 100% sure, so I'm going to post those pictures to a couple Facebook groups where people are a little bit smarter than me when it comes to certain species of fish and how to properly identify them. So gonna wait for those results, and then once I know what species I've caught today for sure, I will leave them in the little subtitle below. That way you can tell which species is which. So hopefully we got at least one new species today, but if not, it was still a decent day out on the water. It's been a long one. I've been fishing since 9 a.m. this morning, and between traveling between places, it is now a little after 5 o'clock. So full day of fishing, and now it's time to wrap it up for the day. Probably gonna go home and on my way grab some Royal Farms, fill up on the gas tank, and maybe get some nice chicken. There's a little darter down there. First darter. Seen him come out of there. I don't think he'll bite, but might as well drop it down while we're here. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video today. If you did, feel free to drop a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next episode of the Ville Outdoors.